In thinking about my faith journey, it's been strange because I've grown up my entire life in the church. My family comes from a Mennonite Brethren background. My grandfather was a Mennonite Brethren minister in Inman, Kansas. My faith journey is pretty boring, I think, for the most part. I accepted Christ at age 5 at Vacation Bible School. My dad was always the choir director, so I was always in church every Sunday. I always had to sit in the front row so my dad and mom, who both in the choir, could keep an eye on me. We moved to McPherson, Kansas when I was about to start 3rd grade. And we joined the First Baptist Church there, the American Baptist Church in McPherson. And that church was pretty important in forming the base of my faith life. I was baptized in that church. I did all the American Baptist things. I got to know First Baptist Church Lawrence while I was in high school at First Baptist Church in McPherson, because I went to YLC with a young lady at that time named Ann Haycock, who's now known as Ann Munsterman, and Karen Boring. And, I had a pretty basic, fundamental belief of Christ up until my college years, which is where I started having a challenge. And I would say the first challenge I distinctly remember is I had the opportunity I went to Friends University in Wichita, and at that time, a man named Richard Foster was on faculty there. And Richard wrote a book called Celebration of Discipline that's pretty popular, and he's written a bunch of different books now. But I took a class from Richard Foster called Pioneers of the Spiritual Life, and it was a class where he had us read different authors from different backgrounds and different types of spirituality. And it was pretty eye-opening to me to look into that at that age. That was my first time of doing anything, thinking beyond what I had grown up with. But I learned a lot about contemplative style of worship and just what I would call mystical theology. And it became an important part of what I was. But that was kind of the first time I ventured past memorizing Bible scriptures and just, the standard, go to church, memorize the Bible, learn the Bible stories, do all that kind of stuff. So I started law school in May of 1988. I got married in August of 1988, and Susan and I were invited by the pastor to join the church shortly thereafter, and we did. There weren't people our age at the church at that time, and at that time we were in our 20s, but there were people there that really reached out to us. The first person I ever was introduced to, or that introduced himself to me at First Baptist, was Verlin Gilbert, who walked up to me that first Sunday and introduced himself and welcomed me. Later on, a lot of the saints of First Baptist, that a lot of who are no longer with us, kind of adopted this young couple. That's why we stayed at First Baptist. It was, there were times it was a struggle to stay there, but we did, and it was because of the Haycocks and the Vbrocks and the Nordlands and, just this group, Borings, and this group of people that took us in and treated us really well. And I apologize if I forgot people, because there were a lot more, the Williamses and the Trents and other people too. But most of my faith growth I have seen as an adult. The last year, my Bible study, my reading has gone up exponentially because it's been needed just to make it through the day-to-day stuff around here. So, that's my challenge. That's kind of my faith story.